Well, good Friday morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I'm sorry that I just grabbed my phone here because Brother Roz, aka the Rain Man, he just emailed me stats that I found out when I was looking at Arizona versus Philadelphia. Shout out to Brother Ross, because Brother Ross is literally like, I've got people that work with me. He is my stat boy. No, I'm not going to call him boy. He is my stat man, because he's a grown ass man, and he has done okay, forget you. He said Arizona is not playing as well as Dallas in any part of the game, so Philly will not be tested against Arizona. Okay, then again, so Ross, your stats mean nothing, man. Your stats mean nothing. No, I'm kidding. Okay, well, I mean, that's the truth. I mean, it's funny how going into the season, how they look at things. It's almost comical, because I dare say, so far, what have we heard going into the preseason that has been correct? What has been right? When they started talking about the forecasting, remember when they said that the AFC West was going to be a juggernaut? That with the power shift of Russell Wilson going from Seattle to Denver, they're going to be a juggernaut team, right? Remember what they were talking about, the Raiders getting Devontae Adams? How they were going to be another one of the juggernaut teams? That the Chargers were going to take another step forward because they have the best young quarterback in Justin Herbert? Right now, I got to look at the Cowboys and the NFC East and say that division is no longer the NFC least. That division is looking better than that division. You look at a team like Tampa Bay with all of the problems that Tom Brady has with, Giselle and his relationship. And, you end up getting Cole Beasley probably should look and say, oh, my God, I'm playing with Tom Brady, stayed for 2 weeks and said I'm out, I'm retiring. And you look at that and say, ooh, remember when Teddy Bridgewater was supposed to be better than Dak Prescott and he was going to do things because now he got all kinds of weapons with New Orleans? No. That game last night was so ugly. The memes today about Russell Wilson, and you look at this picture right here, this says it all. That teammate's got the look that he's got of disgust for Russell Wilson. You know what that reminds me of? That look right there looks like The Longest Yard. Seriously. In fact, I need to get the picture from Longest Yard and put those side by side, because the look that you have right there was when the quarterback was throwing the game intentionally because he didn't want his ass to go to jail. I don't care if you looked at Adam Sandler version or if you looked at the original version. Burt Reynolds. That's the way they looked at him. In fact, I'm going to find the clip from that Longest Yard where he's throwing games, because it got ugly last night. And it is insane that you had Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson and 5 quarters and you couldn't get one touchdown. It's the first time that that's ever happened with quarterbacks that both have been to at least 4 Pro Bowls. It was ugly. It was a throwback game. We wanted to throw it back. Between the drop passes, the incompletions, the overthrows, the sacks, it was just nothing that you could do with that game. I thought about doing a video about Thursday Night Football and basically putting a lipstick on a pig. Because the problem for Thursday Night Football is it's just not enough time to get ready. They've got great telecasts. The images are crystal clear. The new graphics that they have, they're all great. But it's lipstick on a pig because you get games like this that literally, I don't know how I stayed awake with it. If it had not been for me live streaming it, I would probably fall asleep in the second quarter. It was literally unwatchable. And Russell Wilson, you had the game going into overtime, and you had fans literally leaving. They're booing Russell Wilson. And I'm old enough to remember that last year, everybody was saying the Cowboys should trade for Russell Wilson. You know, if we just get rid of Whack Dak and get Russell Wilson in here, we'll win Super Bowls. Well, I'm here to tell you something. Take note, people. Take note. Just having a great quarterback means nothing if you don't have a great team around him. Now, I've said for a while that I've thought that Russell Wilson was on the downhill side of his career. People argued with me and said, oh, no. Russell Wilson is elite. Russell Wilson has started to get those injuries the last few years. He's taken a lot of hits and things, and he does not have the running game that he used to. And see, people, when I used to compare Dak and Russell Wilson, they say, how can you compare the two of them? Because Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Anybody who looks at that and does not actually dig deeper and understand that you had a beast mode that was rushing for over 1,300 yards and that you had the number one defense, doesn't really understand football is a team sport. One guy cannot win the Super Bowl by himself. And I wonder if the Dallas Cowboys didn't have the number one defense those years during the 90s, would the Cowboys have won the Super Bowls that they did? I'm betting they probably didn't. And so now we're looking at the Cowboys being a more complete team between special teams, defense, and offense. I think our offense still needs to be, we're not turning over the football, which is keeping you in there. We're reducing some of the penalties, which is helping us not to be in bad positions. But we're going to need to score some more points than what we're doing. But, yeah, it's getting ugly right now in Denver at 2-3. We are fortunate to be where we are. As we get ready for this game this weekend, our Cowboys, Dez Bryant, who did not bet on the Cowboys week one, the Cowboys, when Dez Bryant drops $10K on the Cowboys, have been undefeated. He's dropping $10K this week against the Rams. I will also note that since the Cincinnati game, we started having hot dogs, a.k.a. glizzies, every week. We've not lost either. Now, I don't know if it's Dez Bryant's 10 G's or if it's the glizzies, but I tell you what, I'm glad that Dez dropping 10 G's and I'm going to have the glizzies. Hey, we got the glizzies coming because we're going to make sure we don't do anything. We're not changing up anything. In the meantime, interesting thing is all of a sudden it seems like Mike McCarthy is getting some love. Mike McCarthy, to my amazement, was actually given credit by Jerry Jones, which is something that you don't see very often. Jerry Jones, instead of saying that, yeah, I righted the ship, because I ended up making sure we got Cooper Rush. But no, he didn't do that. He literally talked about Mike McCarthy getting hit in the face. And I dare say that what looked, like we talked about, how everybody talked about the great teams that, they're going to be there, that Kyler Murray is going to have the Cardinals take another step and things like that, that the NFC West was going to be incredible, that the Rams would be a repeat team, all these things that they said that were wrong. Now, they said that the Cowboys don't care about winning, that the Cowboys screwed themselves over because they weren't signing the big name free agents, that they weren't spending a whole lot of money, that they were bargain basement shopping. The Cowboys, we heard Cap Boy. When was the last time you heard Cap Boy? Haven't heard Cap Boy in a while. Haven't heard people killing the Cowboys because it almost, for once, feels like the Cowboys might actually have the Midas touch. Now, we're only 4 games into the season. It's still really early, and we just beat Washington and the Giants. I'm not sure what kind of team the Giants are. We'll find out Sunday morning early. We'll start our telecast at 9:30 in the morning. Geez, I'm going to have to get up real early on that morning to be ready. Against the Packers, we'll see, are the Giants for real? Are the Packers for real? I'm not sure that the Giants are a good team. We know Washington isn't a good team, but teams are still actually getting into shape right now. So you don't know exactly what we don't know. A couple more games, the cream will start really rising. But the Cowboys, to Jerry Jones' credit, who may actually have the Midas touch, and that's going to be my thing right now. I'm going to say it right here. It seems like the Cowboys have had the Midas touch. You look at where they started out with DeMarcus Lawrence, and they redid his contract to get some cap relief. A lot of people said, man, get rid of D-Law. Well, D-Law right now is only one sack behind Micah Parsons. He seems to be D-Law of old. He's going great in the run stopping. He's getting pressures. He's getting sacks. They saved some money. They brought back a great player. Leighton Vander Esch. They didn't sign him to a long-term deal. They brought him back. A lot of fans turned around and said, no, hell no, we don't want Leighton Vander Esch. Guy's been playing pretty well on the defense. That's right now the number 3 scoring defense. They signed a bargain basement guy like Anthony Barr, who originally was looking for $10 million. They signed him for $2 million, who again helped that linebacking crew. Again, a guy who can mentor. Again, a guy who's on the cheap. You look at Turpentine. Gotta say, Turpin, I think he's leading the NFL right now in punt returns. They got the special teams going. They brought back Money Maher. Money Maher seems like in this redemption of him being here is playing pretty good. He's kicking good. When people said, Cooper Rush, get rid of that guy, well, Cooper Rush is right now 4-0. They didn't bring in Jason Peters, a guy who's 40 that Eagle fans laughed at. He's still working himself into shape, but he still has something in the tank. Again, another bargain basement guy. Kind of hit on that too. They looked and said, you were an idiot for letting go Randy Gregory. Right now, Randy Gregory's having meniscus surgery and is going to be gone for the next 2 to 6 weeks. I don't miss the penalties, the dumb penalties that we used to get on defense that came along with Randy Gregory, the late hits or the hits that were too low, tackling offensive linemen. You bring in a Dante Fowler. People laughed at Dante Fowler. Oh, he's done. Another guy who's got 3 sacks. I'm sorry, 2 sacks. They said Dorrance Armstrong is not much different than Randy Gregory. People laughed. The experts. He's crazy. Dorrance Armstrong with 3 sacks. Tyler Smith. I remember Skip and Shannon saying, oh, shit, man, that was a reach, man. You could have got him in the 2nd round. Maybe even the 3rd round is where some of them guys had him. Yeah, you know what? Maybe when you start listening to where people have people rated, maybe you need to tune that off because those guys are wrong just as much as the talking heads. But now you sit here and look at it, and people said, Mike McCarthy, fire that guy. Get him out of here. Right now, you got to look at Mike McCarthy and say, like Jerry Jones said, he got punched in the face, basically, and he got his shit together, and now we're doing things. We're playing with house money right now, and we have a showdown where we are 5.5-point underdogs against the Rams. But see, as much as we killed the Cowboys, I want you to understand this. This is the biggest thing that's right here. This team, as currently constructed, is the 3rd youngest team in the NFL. This team still has a lot to learn. This team still has a long way that they can still grow together and be here. And as much as it pains me to talk about Catboy, they didn't go out there and blow their wad on guys like Galladay that literally they're just giving a paycheck to and he's doing nothing. They didn't say, get rid of Dak and go out and get Russell Wilson and give up all that draft capital and all the money and see them literally lose at home and can't score a touchdown. You got to give the Jones credit. Now let's go to Max Kellerman and crew this morning and hear what they have to say about the matchup.
At Rams. Yeah, the spread says that the Rams are -5 and a hook. The money line, Dallas +196. And look, and then you got the Rams -240. The over-under is 42 and a hook. The Rams have an opportunity at 74.1% chance of winning. FPI says that. I don't know if that's the case, but I do know that the Cowboys have won 5 straight games on the road, their longest streak since 2016. Cooper Rush is playing great football. His QBR, 74, fourth highest in the NFL. He's only qualified quarterback without an interception this season. So he's not turning the football over, which gives them an opportunity to win. The problem with the Rams, in my opinion, is the usage rate on Cooper Kupp is too much. It really is. The guy has 42 receptions this season already. That's a lot. Find out who else can play football for you outside of Cooper Kupp. That pick six going the other way, that was all about design. That was all about familiarity with the formation and the San Francisco 49ers knowing that you're getting ready to throw the ball to Cooper Kupp. So Matthew Stafford and company, let's see if you can find some other players to get the football to if you want to win this game.
Who's going to win the game, Key?
I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys. I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys in winning, and I like their defense in this opportunity and chance.
Jay, is Mike McCarthy getting easier to root for?
I think he is. I mean, I don't know how many segments that we have on air, or I've seen everybody that piles on Mike McCarthy, or that the Cowboys are the joke of the town all the time. Sean Payton has a house in Dallas. You talk about Dan Quinn. It's a matter of time before he gets a head coaching job. Look how great the defense is. It's always something, but yet this guy has won. I will say this, though. The issue for the Rams is their O-line, okay? They're 2-2. In both games they won, Matthew Stafford's been sacked 1 time each. In both games they lost, he's been sacked 7 times each. And by the way, when you think about the boys right now, Key, they have 15 sacks on the season. They lead the NFL. That's going to be the key down the stretch.
Hey, you know what? Let's bring some callers in on this. They end in on 4th downs. On 4 downs. Mike in St. Louis. Is McCarthy getting easier to root for?
Well, yes, sir, he is, but I'm not going to root for him this weekend because I'm a huge Rams fan still from St. Louis. I just can't get rid of I love the Rams, so. But, yes, Mike McCarthy is absolutely getting 100% easier to root for, and Keyshawn broke it down perfectly. Dealing with everybody else's mess until you get your own house in order. And that's what makes it easy to root for him. But before I let you guys go, you guys are the superstars of ESPN. All 3 of you guys. The most knowledgeable radio show.
Talk about some ass kicking. Damn.
And when you can make somebody feel like they're sitting in the studio with you, you guys are superstars. And ESPN better pay you.
Yes.
They better pay you, or we will not listen.
Mike is wise.
Who emailed that young man to say all those great things?
I like him, though.
Hey,
Whose
as they
agent
say,
hired this guy?
Pat and company, clip that, and we need to continue to play that during break.
That's right. That should be the new intro to the show. Mike in St. Louis. Wise.
What up, Mike?
Okay. Dustin in Virginia. Is Mike McCarthy getting easier to root for?
Absolutely. As a long-time Cowboys fan, he's definitely getting easier to root for, especially dealing with the owner like Jerry Jones. Lately, he's been putting his foot down this year. After the first game, when he said he was going to step into the play calling and talk to Kellen Moore how they got to be smarter. And then when Jerry Jones went on the air and said, tried to create a quarterback controversy, Mike McCarthy came right back and said, no, that's our quarterback. And I know that, and Jerry knows that. And since then, Jerry kind of changed his tune and said, when Dak comes back, he's our quarterback. So I feel like you got to be firm. Unlike we had in the past with Jason Garrett and others, I think you got to put your foot down with an owner like Jerry Jones who wants to grab a headline. So, yeah, absolutely he's getting easier to root for.
Well, you have to win in order to put your foot down, and that's what he's been doing. That's what
Amen. That's it, 100%.
But Key, I think the big point here that Jay kind of led to it before is that It's one thing to not manage the clock or the play. You can question a play call, and that's legitimate. You could say, yeah, everyone could get better in areas. But the big job of a head coach is to keep the whole thing together and moving and lead it. And he has done that. And as you pointed out earlier, it took him a little bit to get it. His team, put it all together. But it's working without his starting quarterback.
How many times have we seen in professional sports or even collegiate sports when a new head coach comes in, the expectations is you got to do it right now, but that's not the reality. The reality is I need to be able to get my own people in here to be able to do a good job. When taking over this show at the time for Golick and Wingo, it took us time to get going. We can't just all of a sudden take everything that they had and then use it and think it's the same. No, we have our own personalities. We're different people, and now we got to figure out how to get through the bumps and the this and the that and get our own fan base in here so we can have the success that young man just talked about. Clip that again. I want y'all to make sure you
It takes a couple of years usually.
It does.
A couple of years to put your hands on something and mold it into the thing you want.
So you guys are giving time for Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson to get it going? That's what you're trying to tell me?
Next topic.
Next topic.
Okay.
Third down. Bengals at
All right, so Mike McCarthy getting some love. Definitely, he doesn't seem like he's towing the company line. Seems like he's marching to the beat of his own drummer, and we'll have more on that later. This morning video is getting a little bit long here, and I know you guys got shit to do. I'm Mark Holmes, and of course, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, as well as you ladies, and keep spreading the mojo.
Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing,